My money was on
Heat Geek. But who's better, Heat Geek or Octopus? There's only one way to find out.
Come on! Auntie! He's only got one arm! We'll see you in a moment.
Hey everyone, so it's the day of my Octopus Energy heat pump survey for the second time. Let's find out if they're going to win the fight versus Heat Geek, and let's find out if they can now deliver me the Cosy 12. They've surveyed before and said there was a 12 kilowatt heat loss. What are they going to say today? And will, at the end of this video, I be ordering a Cosy 12 heat pump and getting one within the next month or something? So they say. Place your bets now. Bets in the comments below.
Oh, right. Well, it's a good morning to sell a heat pump, isn't it? Oh, Christ, I hate spiders, though. Let's go give the customer a knock, see if he's in. Oh, what's happened to that woman? Oh, hi, Greg. Welcome. Come on in. Yeah, I want to buy a heat pump. Yeah, from you. Yeah, come on in. So yeah. I just want to get off gas, really. Just have loads of hot water, have a really warm home, have the house always heated, and have like guilt-free heating, not having to worry about buying a load of Putin juice, you know? No, that means natural gas. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's just me. No, only I said that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, won't do that again. Yeah, I know. With a turbo install, it'd be a grand cheaper, and you won't have to change any radiators, and we won't have to worry about the flow speed through any of the pipes, or quite where the 24mm pipes disappear and the 15mm pipes start. But I think I really want the low running costs for the lifetime of the product, and using the least amount of electricity as possible. Yeah, I think that's my priorities. And I think the heat pump could go here, in my backyard. Is that right? It's about a metre away from this window over here. And I would prefer it round here, where I can't see, and we could get rid of the bike and the trampoline. But it's got propane in, or R290, and it's too near this silly window. Uh-oh. And this is where the heat pump's supposed to go. And if we take the pipe straight through the wall, this is where the cylinder could go. Right in this messy utility room. This is an example of one of the radiators put in the 70s that just gotta go. Single panel, and no convection fins either. Doesn't pack out enough heat, so let's get a double or a triple radiator to really put out the heat that this house needs. The living room's a bit better with a double panel, but it's got no convector fins in. So yeah, this could do with an upgrade as well, and who cares what the radiator looks like or how big it is. If it's cooler as well, Martha will like leaning on it more. Give us a kiss. Mwah. As you can see, and I'm hoping getting a heat pump is going to be the kick up my arse to get this utility room fixed and sorted. Let's get a new cabinet. Let's get it fully enclosed by cupboards. Let's get a dryer here. And this, if I take this cupboard out, is where my cylinder's going to go. Right the other side of where the heat pump's going to go for the minimal pipe run, so it works as efficiently as possible. This designer, it's not exactly Gucci, radiator in the kitchen might need to be upgraded as well. One of these tube radiators, there is 2 layers of them. We could get a similar one with 3 layers or with 4 or wider, etc., but they don't put out that much heat. So we'll get advice from the firms about what we need to do to get the amount of heat output that we need. Another thing you may not realise is that these towel radiators really don't put out a lot of heat, especially at lower flow temperatures. So this isn't quite sufficient for the room. But what you can do within the same floor space is you can oversize the other radiators to put out more heat, and then it will trickle in here through the uninsulated stud walls. So it's not a disaster to have a too low towel radiator. You can get ones with normal radiators at the bottom and an attached towel radiator at the top, or we could get a pipe to come over here and have another radiator over here, or I would not mind behind the towel storage that we've got to have you know, a triple panel radiator over there. But is it really necessary? We can just slightly oversize next door's triple radiator to put out enough heat to keep this warm through the walls. With an always on system, that's easier to do. If you're doing gas quick bursts, heat up the home with really hot air that makes you feel a bit too hot, a bit too dry, kicks up loads of dust and creates loads of drafts, then it won't heat up this room will stay cold. But if you have the always on weather compensation heat pump style heating of slow flow trickles, you'll always have heat coming in here, warming the bathroom and stopping damp, mould, condensation and the like. For example, in the kids' room right below the dormers, we've got these radiators, single panels. So these could just be made into triples, which would be quite thick, but won't take up any headroom in here because it's all in the archways and things. And then bring it longer as well, and then it would be big enough to put out enough heat to keep us all warm. And I think my daughter will really appreciate that. Now, I did do another video saying that we've newly got these insulated, and unbeknownst to our EPC, this is actually room in roof loft insulation. If I take this spotlight out, for example, you can see that this has got 50 mils of rock wool type insulation in. What we don't know is there definitely some in here? Probably. You'd think if you've done there and you've done this one that you've likely done there, but have they done the hallway? We don't know. I guess I could drill through it in a circumspect place, maybe here at a triple check. But at this moment we don't know. What I do know is that I manually put in 300 mils of rock wool in this full height part of the house. So from here all the way to here, and in our next loft room, I'm just doing the drying in with a dehumidifier on with a bit of noise. This is all insulated, so we don't need to worry about that. Keeping as much heat in as we can. But yeah, Octopus are going to come here at 12, and so we'll get the lowdown from them whether the Cosy 12 heat pump is going to be big enough for us, or if they still won't fit it in our estimated, by HeatGeek, 10.8 kilowatt heat loss, by Octopus 11.8, and we'll see if they think that's enough headroom in order to install the 12 kilowatt Cosy heat pump. Really excited to get one. The price is really good, but HeatGeek would only be, as per their estimate online, the only difference would be that they would be going for a Scupper 4 heat pump with up to 10 radiator changes, and with a new cylinder they would be going for 7,800. So when it was going to be Octopus doing 5,700 and HeatGeek doing 13 grand, it was an easy choice just to go with Octopus. Save that money, and that will pay for most of a solar array for me, solar and battery array, which will give us energy, green energy, in order to feed the heat pump, and we won't see our bills go up very much. We can make the most of our roof space and do the best we can. But if HeatGeek have come down from that 13, there's a local a local firm who'd done the HeatGeek training who are going to give us a 11 kilowatt Valent double size unit. They were going to do it for 13.5 grand. But if HeatGeek, if I contact them through their website and pay them a non-refundable £200 deposit, could give me a design consultation, and would be doing it for around 7,800. That's much more attractive, and it would give me much more headache about what to do, and we could go forward with either the Octopus or the HeatGeek quotes and just get it done, and probably still soon afford solar and a battery. So I'm really excited to have them both round. Should I pay that £200 to get HeatGeek through? I think it may be an investment worth doing, just to check if I can really go forward with the heat pump, make sure we get the right one, really, because what I don't want to do is Octopus to do it, get a low scop, pay more than gas, and regret the choice. So maybe worth paying that extra £200 for Heat Geek to come do it. Only problem is I've already done that with a Heat Geek, and I'm already £300 down on that consultation, and they told me that I'd have to replace a pipe from where my boiler is to where it joins the rest of the system and tees off upstairs and downstairs, just to make sure it could take a 12 kilowatt heat at 45 degrees, so that we could get the projected scop, and that it wouldn't cause too much rattling in the pipes or corrosion in the pipes from the flow being too fast. So let me show what. So hopefully now you can see the under floor of my Baxi 105E combi boiler, which is most definitely on its last legs. You can see the main primary pipework here being 22 or 24 mil. Don't quote me on that. And where it goes is that it comes down here and around and down, and then it goes under here along the skirting board behind my bath. And I've got little stud walls. You can see that it's further away over there with some beautiful old pink wallpaper there. Let's pretend it's William Morris or something. But just behind the skirting board is this pipework that my original Heat Geek installer thought may need replacing and upgrading from 22s to quarter inch, or to full inch. Quarter inch is tiny. And to fully get to that pipework, you would either have to remove this skirting board down here, or take any of the wood off and completely redo that all behind the bath and all around here. And where I was pointing to the ceiling is that this is where the pipework comes out. So let me get you a good view. So the pipework is coming round and out and into this trunking, which is just over here. So this is the trunking we're talking about. So the pipework would go into my home office and studio through here, and would come down and round and under this step, through here and down around and up here, and up this trunking, upstairs, and go down this trunking, downstairs. So this is the core pipework, really, that we need to make sure is big enough to take a X heat loss. And pipework and heat loss and how much they can take at different temperatures is extremely linked based on the flow. So why have I got a little tear in my eye this afternoon? It's because Octopus again have said no to installing a heat pump at my property. Back when I had them a year ago, they had a surveyor out, a former EPC surveyor, and measured each room, measured each radiator, and then used their calculator to calculate a heat loss for the property. It came out at 11.8 kilowatts, and at the time they were doing a Cosy 6 heat pump, and they were using Dakin heat pumps, but they wouldn't go up to 12 kilowatts. They suggested I needed a 12 kilowatt heat pump, but that they wouldn't be able to do it. And that was very disappointing. At the time, they were quoting a £7,500 price for the heat pump, but were giving 20% off, and so it would have worked out at £6,000, which is very affordable in my position, and around what I might need to pay for a boiler anyway, but that's with already a 5,000 or 7,500, as it later got increased to, heat pump grant. However, now we've had a second survey from a different person from Octopus. This time, a very lovely chap, local chap, who is a former installer, former heating engineer, plumber. And he has done the same thing with the same software, and it's come out at a 15 kilowatt heat loss. And stating reasons of the solid walls, the uninsulated floors, and the chimney flue. And even if we got the chimney flue bricked up, the heat loss would, by their calculation today, would be 14 kilowatts. And therefore, the Cosy 12 is just simply not an option. But now that means that I've had 4 heat losses done, originally by Octopus at 11.8, originally by HeatGeek at 10.8, and then by another local firm who were also HeatGeek trained at around the same amount. And now we've had a 4th, again done by Octopus a second time, and it's at 15 kilowatts. So this is incredibly frustrating. Octopus were going to be doing it at a very competitive price point. So I was very much looking forward to that. What my preference would have been for an Octopus HeatGeek Eco install at a flow temperature of 45 to 50 degrees with 10 radiator changes as per their terms and conditions that I'll flash up on the screen. I don't know what I would have felt internally about that, marking it up against the different HeatGeek options that I'll pop up on the screen now. So HeatGeek have recently dropped their prices. They've recently launched this zero disrupt install. A couple of other people on YouTube have done it, and find links in the description below to them, including Upside Down Fork and another chap from Newcastle who's a great presenter. So where does that leave me? So I'll get my deposit back, and then I really want to progress with this. I can't just leave it. It's been 5 years since I learned about heat pumps and wanted one, and I know that other people with terrace houses get heat pumps and do perfectly fine. So I still want to progress with this, so I think I'm going to have to get a HeatGeek out to see if they can get it fitted, or even might go back to Green Home Heating and get Mark out and just see if he's sticking with his £13,000 price, or via the HeatGeek service could do it for less. So let's jump into that HeatGeek survey results. So what does that mean for me and my heat pump journey? Well, we're definitely not giving up, but we may need to do a few things before we go ahead with one. I think I'm gonna have to pay the HeatGeek £200 design consultation fee and get them around next Tuesday, and then get them to redo a heat loss assessment and come up with a quote and see if that extra work that would change a £7,000 install into a £13,000 install would definitely be needed, because if it is, then I've got some more saving to do, and if it isn't, then let's get it paid and let's have a warm winter in this house before my combi boiler gives up. But if we were going to go back to the original premise for this video, if we were watching an episode of Harry Hill's TV Burgp and we said we love Adam Chapman, we love Greg Jackson, but who's going to win? Fight. Well, Greg has very sensibly pulled out of the race and has retired before a single punch has been blown. So can HeatGeek and Adam Chapman and the team at HeatGeek electrify this terrace house and get me off of gas? Because I've long been a champion that heat pumps will be the future of home heating, even for difficult to heat houses like this, but now I need to make that a reality. Now, some people would say, Lewis, you can make your home a lot more comfortable just by insulating this floor. And you're right, but we bought the house for this beautiful walnut flooring that is throughout the floor, the ground floor of the house, underneath are the floorboards and then the joists. And yes, they are insulated, and yes, in winter, your feet touches these and feels cold, and it is a pain in the bum. And that is what's turning our home's heat loss so sky high. So I could try and fix that, but it would mean estimated £10,000 to get new flooring. They could take it up and try and salvage it and make sure they don't damage it, but it would be difficult. And when they put it back together, it won't be the same again. It would make the house warmer. I estimate it could reduce the heat loss by 2 or 3 kilowatts, but would transform the livability of the house and make it much more comfortable underfoot, reduce the heat loss, and perhaps it would enable me to get an Octopus heat pump. But if I'm just talking the difference between getting an Octopus and a HeatGeek install, the difference is £2,000, whereas I've spent £10,000 on some insulation. And how many years is that going to take to pay off? I don't really mind if it made my house better. It's going to cost more for the next person to buy because the house is better, the house is warmer, the house is more comfortable, and people will pay for eco house, or so I suggest they will. We don't know the proof of that. So lots to think about. Octopus are out of the ring, but hopefully I can still get this one with Heat Geek. For those of you who say you need to insulate your house to the nines before you even get a heat pump, I would say please come and read this article or listen to this episode of Beta Talk with Richard, who's written this great article on...
Hi everyone, so here we are, and you can see the Heat Geek website here showing my home. I'll have to remember to blunt out my address and what their heat loss suggestion is for it, and how much they're going to quote. So you can see the basic price here is $7,850. That is minus the 7,500 that the UK heat pump grant is currently at the Boiler Upgrade scheme. And that they would put a 12 kilowatt Valent Aerotherm Plus in, which is a double header, double fan unit, and this is for the guaranteed 400% efficiency. So Heat Geek have recently put out a video, which is fantastic, you should go check it out, all about their zero disrupt design system in. So let's have a look at it and how it comes out from my home and how we compare that to the Octopus one. Well, this would be equivalent to their Eco install. So instead of offering me $5,700, I'll be paying $7,800, so £2,000 more or thereabouts. But what will you be getting based on that? Well, we've gone for the SCOP of 4, or guaranteed SCOP of 4, which means that for every 1 unit of energy, in electricity that goes into the heat pump, it scavenges 3 more from the environmental heat and puts that into the house. Actually, it's probably scavenging 4 and putting that into the house. The electricity drives a compressor, it doesn't make any heat itself necessarily. So anyway, 1 unit of electricity in, 4 units of heat into your house. And they're calculating a savings per year based on what tariff you have. So this particular one, and Heat Geek have a deal with OVO, but all Valent heat pumps, I think, are compatible with this tariff, that you get all your electricity at 15p. This is why there's such a huge saving. Now, I won't be doing that. I will be doing something a bit like this. My tariff is not 8.5p, it's actually 7p, but and it's not just for the hours of Octopus Go. Octopus Go hours are midnight till 5, I think, whereas I'll be on Octopus Intelligent Go, which is at 11 till 6. So a longer period of time and at a lower tariff rate, but also whenever I plug my car in, i.e. Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, I will be getting much cheaper energy. So this is underquoting how much saving I would be getting. But what if you were to drop this? Let's go with just off-gem cap. Only saving £200 a year, not really doing this to save money, doing this to save carbon and having a comfier, warmer, nicer home. What if we go to a SCOP of 3.7? This is still cheaper than gas, or very competitive with it, and you'd still be saving money. What if we go for a low SCOP? So this will be a zero disrupt SCOP, where you could definitely heat your home on a higher flow temperature, and you wouldn't have to change many radiators or any at all, and you would be losing a bit of money based on the off-gem cap. But you wouldn't do that, would you? You would swap to an Octopus Cosy, or you'd swap to an OVO Heat Pump Plus tariff, and you'd be saving money. Quite easy. Now, where do I want it to go? Well, I want it to go there. But if you've got a big garden and you don't want it near your house, do I want it 6 meters away, an extra £250? Or do you want it within 9 meters of where your boiler is? Well, that's an extra £600. So let's get rid of that. Let's go back to our SCOP of 4, and I do need a cylinder. Yeah, so sometimes it deletes the cylinders off, but we do need a cylinder. because I don't have one. I've got a combi boiler at the moment, which many of you at home will have as well. So Heat Geek offered me $7,850 pending a site survey and a design consultation. So what's the process for getting that? Let's just show you here. What's the timeline? You pay up front your £250 to get your heat loss survey, which can take hours and it takes a lot of their time. However, they've sped that up and do a lot of AI to put in the dimensions and the building materials of your home. So you book your design consultation, you get that within a month, you look at the quote and you decide you're going to pay it, and then you get your installation. So usually you get that within a month. So within 2 months, I could be having a heat pump installed here, which would be absolutely fabulous. I don't know if I want to have a heat pump installed on Christmas Day or just the week before, but there you go. So that is the Heat Geek process. I think essentially I've got no choice but to give it a go. And can I get it for a lower cost than the $13,200 or $13,700 that I was quoted for last time through not the official Heat Geek team, but one of the local firms who's done the Heat Geek Elite training. So everyone, I guess you just need to watch this space again, and I will get the Heat Geek design consultation booked. I'll get them out to the house, or if it's done online, and we will see what the final price is and if they can do it and if I'm going to go ahead with it. And yeah, I've still not got out on the channel the design proposal for the 3 different comparisons of the solar installs, so I really need to make that video, and then I really need to make the one that I'm going to hopefully go with, as well as the timings of when I do any of this. So if I could go ahead with Heat Geek, I'd probably go with heat pump first, that's what I'm thinking, and then I'll get the solar array to kind of provide as much energy as possible, but perhaps size my battery in order to meet some of the heat pump demand that's going to be created, and that we don't really know what it's going to be like. Are we going to have loads of 12 kilowatt or 11 kilowatt of heat pump outage, so 3 kilowatts of electrical input for 12 hours a day on the coldest day, or is that a myth and I'm only ever going to get 8 kilowatts loss, which is what the rule of thumb gas usage would be. I'll put on text here what the rule of thumb gas usage would be. You divide my yearly gas usage, which of course is 11,000 kilowatt hours, and you divide that by 2,900 to get your estimated heat loss, of which mine would only be 3.9 kilowatts, 4 kilowatts essentially. I think that's definitely wrong, and I think I just underheat the house. But my EPC says that I would need 23,000 kilowatt hours, and that only comes out as a heat loss of 8 kilowatts. So the MCS criteria probably oversize heat pumps anyway, but Heat Geek put it at 10.8 last time they came out. Which is fair enough. I really don't want to be cold on my coldest day. I want the house to stay warm. That's why I'm doing this. I don't want to spend all this money and have a cold house. So it's fair enough to be conservative about that. But the Octopus quote of needing 15 kilowatts, just not prepared to put up with that. And they're not prepared to install one either. So we're agreeing on that one. So if we go back to the fight, who wins? I'm going to put it up again because I just find it hilarious, even though my animation skills are awful. Who is going to win? Is it going to be Octopus or is it going to be Heat Geek? Fight!
My money was on
Heat Geek. But who's better, Heat Geek or Octopus? There's only one way to find out.
fight! Come on! He's only got one arm. We'll see you in a moment.